Doing that D&D tag was a lot of fun. I think it might be fun to do some more with it.
Great idea, Ted. Let's explore our favorite monster choices today.
I'm Nerdarchy Ted.
And I'm Nerdarchy Dave. Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds.
Now it's time to pick some of them monsters.
So a while back, we did the D&D tag. We did it here as a live video where you did it, and then I had done it with Robin Miller and Stephen Partridge over on Steven's channel. And it's like 15 questions that Ginny D kind of started up and was sending around. Question number 4 was, what was your favorite D&D monster?
Yeah, so that was definitely a cool thing. Definitely a lot of fun to, answer all of those questions. But getting into the favorite monster is a blast. Not everybody's got, something right off the top of their head, but for me it was pretty easy.
Yeah, so we took the monsters right from the D&D tag that we each picked, and we're going to talk about them. But when you got monsters, you know what you're going to need?
Is that going to be maps?
It's going to be maps of their lair, right? And our sponsor, Dungeon Fuck, can help you out with that. It's an amazing piece of mapping software that also will kind of function as a VTT Lite as well in a pinch if you need to or want to. I know I've used it that way. I used it to draw maps in. It's super intuitive and easy to use. There's a bunch of great tutorials all over the internet, and you can even check it out for free through the link down in the description.
Yeah, so go check out, help out the channel by helping out the sponsors.
All right, Ted, let's get into our choices and kind of why we picked them.
All right, so what was your choice and why?
I went with the choker, right? It's really hard for me to pick a favorite monster. I feel like anytime we ever have done a monster video, I'm like, oh, this is my favorite monster. And you're like, dude, you said that about the last 15 monsters we talked about. So I had to really think about it. And I don't know, since 3rd edition, I've had a fondness for the choker. It's these creepy little tentacle monsters. They're like twisted, dark, aberrant halflings that are made of Stretch Armstrong rubber type darkness substance, and they're just so creepy. They have these starfish like hands that have these little like spiky intrusions. They have like a 15-foot reach, and they just like to hide and wait. They're ambush predators, and then when somebody walks by, they just grab them by the throat and just start choking the life out of them.
I don't know what that says about you, that, you like these more assassin type monsters, rather than something that's cute and cuddly, but I don't know. I'm a cat person, always have been, always will. And while the Displacer Beast, my particular favorite, might not fall into the cute and cuddly, it's certainly cuter and more cuddly than a frickin' choker. Displacer Beast, I can't pinpoint exactly what it is that makes this one my favorite. They're feline, which I dig. They got 6 legs, which is different. That's amusing. They've got the cool tentacles, which, I don't know whether that's a feature that I'm like, oh man, that's awesome, or whether that's just, oh, it's something different. Every time I've either seen Displacer Beasts being run, or I've run them, it always is done like that. They've got these green glowing eyes, and they glow even after death. And every character I've played feels morbidly compelled to be like, oh, how can we, carve this up and turn it into a cloak? Or can I use these eyes to, light my lantern or whatever have you? There's just something that's just iconic and special about the Displacer Beast that I just love. The Cloak of Displacement is a widely known magic item, and as far as I'm concerned, the only thing you can make a Cloak of Displacement out of is a hide from a Displacer Beast.
That makes sense, but I will say the Joker is a much better hugger than the Displacer Beast. Which side are you on, Team Ted or Team Dave? Let us know in the comments below. What's your favorite monster? Maybe it's something completely different. Why you're choosing sides between the Joker and the Displacer Beast. Also, let us know your favorite monster in the comments below.
And if you'd like to help Nerdarchy by appeasing that YouTube algorithm, go ahead and do all those things that makes YouTube happy. Like, share, subscribe, even make sure you click that notification bell so you don't miss a single video.
Yeah, quick reminder, we drop new Nerdarchy videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so come on back to the channel and see what's new.
All right, so we talked about these monsters, but we haven't really talked about these monsters. So Dave, what is a choker for those who might not be aware?
Okay, so I vaguely gave like the physical appearance of a choker, whether they're small aberration that kind of are made up of limbs that are like tentacles, and they look like kind of like corrupted halflings, if you would. They have a 16 armor class, 13 hit points, normal speed. They're pretty stealthy. They can squeeze and hide in little areas, like as small as narrow as 4 inches, right? Because they have this boneless ability. Which means that you could stick them in a knot of a tree, essentially, right? In a place where you would not be expecting this halfling-sized creature to spring out at you. They have spider climb, so they have vast maneuverability, especially in caves, forests, places where they can hide. Once per short rest, they can take an extra action, so they get this like limited form of haste, and they also get 2 attacks around. So and they're not chumps when it comes to damage. I mean, they're doing a die 4 plus 3 plus a die 6. That's a decent amount of damage for a challenge 1 monster.
So that's a pretty potent thing, and the fact that it's a challenge 1, you've got to be able to kind of use it right off the bat. Looking at the Displacer Beast, again, my particular favorite monster. You've got this very awesome sleek black feline 6-legged creature. Imagine a panther that's on steroids. It's large, it's lawful evil. It's got 85 hit points, so it's pretty considerable when it comes to health. But its cool thing is it's got avoidance. If the Displacer Beast is subject to an effect that allows it to make a saving throw to only take half damage, it instead takes no damage if it succeeds on the saving throw, and only half if it fails. And that's any effect whatsoever, not just dexterity based like your typical evasion looks like. And then it's got displacement. The beast projects a magical illusion that makes it appear to be standing near its actual location, causing attack rolls against it to have disadvantage. If it's hit by attack, this trait is disrupted until the end of its next turn. The trait also is disrupted while Displacer Beast is incapacitated or has a speed of 0. It has multi-attack, so it attacks twice with its tentacles. You'd think with 6 legs and carnivorous fangs that it might have a claw or a bite, but it doesn't have this aspect. So you could ratchet this guy up and add those kind of things if you wanted. It's got a wisdom of 12 and a 6 intelligence, so it's definitely capable of layers of thought. 18 strength, so it's pretty darn strong and quite agile for being large. It's got a 15 dex, so definitely a lot of fun. And in D&D Beyond, there's a reduced threat that drops it down to a challenge 2, so that you can use them even earlier if you so desire.
It's never too early to introduce your players to a Displacer Beast. And now let's go into some ways where you can combine them and use them together.
All right, now Nerdarchy has done quite a lot in the past in regards to monster BFFs. So how would we kind of combine these together to make for an interesting and thematic encounter?
Okay, so I think we could probably do that, but let's break it down a little bit further first. I used the D&D Beyond encounter builder to figure out what kind of encounter this is, and just using 1 choker and 1 Displacer Beast is a deadly encounter for a level 2 party, hard encounter for level 3.
It's medium for a level 4 party, and it's like easy for 4 5th level characters.
So that takes us right through tier 1 into the beginning of tier 2. And obviously, if you add more of either, it's going to up the ante and make the challenge more difficult. So, depending on what kind of encounter, what kind of party you're putting these monsters out there for, I don't know if it's just like, they both have tentacles, so they're like, hey, you got tentacles, I got tentacle hands, we should be tentacle bros. I watch a lot of Japanese anime, we both could fall into that. I don't know, maybe it gets a little weird, but like you could do something along that line. Displacer beasts are monstrosities. And then you have your chokers or aberrations. You could definitely do like, I don't know, a pair of displacer beasts found like the choker baby, and because the adventurers had murdered its parents and they decided, maybe they just lost their cubs, so they decided to adopt the choker and bring it into their family. Maybe the chokers are training the displacer beasts as pets or guardians. I feel like there's a lot of like ways you could bring these monsters together. Dark magic could do it as well, right? But the real difference is, if it's a low level party, just run it as a straight up fight so you don't murder the players. At the higher level you get, then I would start to want to really employ tactics a lot more. Mm-hmm. And like, I would have the displacer beast try and lure the players by the choker, right? So it could ambush and attack from being hidden. Like, one is it's an intelligent enough monster to go after the soft squishy targets, but if you can get them from a hidden position, they're going to get advantage on the attack roll, and they can also get extra attacks because of one of the abilities that they have. And also we should mention, like, the choker is a challenge 1, displacer beast is a challenge 3. But one of the abilities is if they score a crit, the person being strangled by a choker can't talk or cast spells with verbal components. So, like, the displacer beast, like, runs under the tree where they're at. It reaches down, grabs two characters going after spellcasters, manages to crit one or both of them. And now you're really looking to hamper the party. And that's totally fair play if you're talking about like a 4th or 5th level party.
Doing all of this stuff, like, it's crazy. But it adds to the actual tactical aspect of the game. It adds to layers where, it's okay for monsters to outthink the party, and every once in a while remind them that, the world doesn't necessarily have to be all, fluffy bunnies, and that, the players might need to run or might need to re-strategize how they do things, because there are things out there like this with literal, murder on their mind. The displacer beast and the choker both have an obnoxiously long reach. The displacer beast has that, displacement field. Doesn't specifically say that it affects something that's riding it, but if it's entirely around them, to me that would kind of make sense. So, like, I would totally allow, like, if you're on top of a displacer beast, that same displacement effect would protect the rider as well. Maybe that's a dangerous statement to make. Maybe I'm gonna, encourage a whole bunch of people to try and get displacer beasts as their own mounts. But that's between you and your DM. But for this, I think that could be a ridiculous encounter, because then you've got the mobility of the displacer beast, the defense of the displacer beast, and the crazy attack power of the choker and the displacer beast all working together.
Well, part of that too is, like, I would look at it as like, the chokers have been around the displacer beasts for so long. It could also be part of their aberration nature that allows them to kind of take it on. Like, I feel like there's some things you could do in game to kind of explain it, so that it kind of works for the monsters, but not the players. Now, that being said, if I had a player that saw this happen and they figured out how to get a displacer beast and have it not want to eat them, and they wanted to use it for a mount, I might allow them to try and figure out how to make that work, but it's not going to be a gimme. Like, they're going to probably have to, like, go on a quest or fashion some kind of gear or something to make it work.
Yeah, that totally works for me.
So that would be my argument about that. But as far as using them, again, like, I feel like this is a great encounter in like a dark forest type setting where maybe the forest itself has some kind of like eerie, dark properties to it. And that might also be another reason why these creatures are able to work together and share their abilities. I mean, the Quickling has an ability, like, once per rest, they get like a haste effects where they can take an extra action. You know, what if they're able to give that to the displacer beast when they do it as well? Like you could slightly modify these monsters. And then also that means, you know, when we're looking at that level 5 party, you know, it makes them a bit more challenging as well, if that's what you're looking for, or if you wanted to scale this type of encounter up, you know, to make it more difficult. But that's probably the setting I would most likely want to use these creatures in, is that dark, spooky forest that might be kind of cursed or slightly evil.
That definitely works for me.
You enjoyed us combining monsters. We've got a whole playlist where we do that called Monster BFFs.
If you'd like to help support us and allow us to keep making videos like this, you might want to check us out over on Patreon.
As a thank you, you'll receive monthly 5e content for players and DMs alike, a chance to game with us, and more.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.